it's just between us. TSPN is excited to announce Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage. Focusing on the lives, experiences, and viewpoints of motherlode women, the show features a rotating cast of 4 women of all ages and from all walks of life. Quick, upbeat, and fast-paced with a variety of topics, this 1-hour show will be aired live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Tune in, it's Just Between Us. Good morning and welcome to Just Between Us Super Bowl weekend. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Are we all ready to go, Niners?
Me too.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of tight ends that I'm going to be watching.
You betcha, and especially in those tight pants.
Well, I'm talking of football. See where your mind goes?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's
Anyway,
catching.
Yes, it's a disease on this panel here. Anyway, good morning. I'm Susie from Volcano.
I'm Pat from Sutter Creek.
I'm Roberta from Pioneer.
I'm Martha from my own in Jackson. And I want to say good morning to Teresa. She's watching the show this morning, Teresa Munson.
Good morning, Teresa. Besos.
Besos.
Besos. Besos. Okay, ladies, let's get started.
You
Martha?
get
Yeah. Oh, you got to give it to
I
her.
get to
Oh,
You
God,
get
I
to
lose
roll.
the control.
Look
Oh, my
at it,
God.
boy.
Okay, go ahead and give her a couple of topics.
Pick 2, Pat.
And-
Oops, too many.
Oh, too many. There we go.
Okay. And the first topic, honey?
The first topic is aging.
Number 5.
Are women more vain than men? Okay.
What a question.
And our military.
Yay.
Number 5 again.
Oh, here we
What
go.
the heck?
Do you feel spouses of military personnel are overlooked when it comes to their bravery? Okay.
Man.
We're going to take a very, very short break. Please stay with us, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Just Between Us, and we're going to get started on our first question, Pat.
Aging. Are women more vain than men?
I don't think so. Not in today's day. Many years ago, I would have said yes, but I think today men are. The vain is a broad word to use, but not pertaining to women. I didn't mean it that way, broad word. But I think men worry about their appearance just as much as women do today.
I think they do too. But I think that I think that's the way to describe it. I think men worry about their appearance as well as women. But I think the word vanity
Vain.
has a connotation of the more female side around it.
Well, see, that's what I think. I think men do worry about their appearance. They have to in the work world now. It's a level playing field versus if you were a man, 30 years ago it was, oh, I can get the job.
Right.
But the word vanity, I think, is a different connotation, and I do think women are more vain. Women stress a whole lot more about every single thing about their appearance than men do. Men might focus on, should I lose some weight? Am I going bald? Not, and do that much about it except get a tube. But, and I don't think that way is bad. I think it's the vanity of the women who will do anything to look young.
What is one of the things that you do? What are you laughing at now? I trim my mole. It doesn't look like a calamari.
Crooked now.
I had an aunt. I wish she was a little bit more vain. She had a mole. It looked like she had curb feelers sticking out of it. Those hairs. It was terrible.
I really believe that with women, it depends on how you're raised.
Sure.
It really does. My mother was very vain, okay? One hair could not be out of place with my mother because that's just the way she was. She still is, and I think I'm not as vain as she is, but I do take care of myself. I do want to make sure that I brush my teeth, and I smell good when I'm around people,
Especially when we're this close.
Yes, I know, just between us girls. But, it is important, especially when you work with other people. and if you're the boss, you have to be an example.
Not only that, you go to the stores and you see all these different products. And not that I've bought all of them, maybe 95%. And of course, some of them don't work. But, you go and you buy and you think, okay, it's going to cover this and do this. You get to the point after a while you think, oh, what the heck. As long as if I go out and, if I have to go out, like, you do this show or whatever, your makeup's on and you look halfway decent. But if you go into the big department stores, you see these products for men today, and
yes.
Why shouldn't they? I mean, why shouldn't a man, when he hits 50, 60, 70 years old, why should he just sit back and not worry about his appearance? And you're right. I think men do worry about their appearance, and they do care about their appearance. You look at a man in a suit with a beautiful tie and shirt, and his hair's done just proper, and as old as you are, you'll turn and look and say, boy, that man looks really nice.
Well, I know.
And then you chase him and say, do you like old women?
Is that why my neck hurts all the time?
Chase him and say, do you like old ladies? Of course, after they call the police on you 2 or 3 times, you learn not to do that, Martha.
So what do you say about your husband?
Oh, I know. He's very adamant about his hair being right. Maybe not his clothes as much, but for him, it's his hair. It has to be.
Oh, he still
just
has
right.
hair.
He does still have.
okay.
Actually, he has a beautiful.
Susie.
You're lucky. I have one that has stuff for the baldness there. Shines it up.
Men are very lucky.
looks good on John.
They can wear a baseball cap all the time. I think,
Not at the dinner table.
well,
A lot of them do.
Not at my dinner table. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Well, a lot of them do because they are so conscious of.
They shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Telly Savalas was one of the sexiest men.
Absolutely.
That was
Brenner.
and Yul Brenner, and both of them were bald. And John's got hair. He just shaves. He shaves it, and it looks nice on him.
Absolutely.
And my brother shaved his hair when he was in his 40s, and he's always had the bald head, and it's in fashion, and it looks good on some men. On some men, not.
Depends on the shape of the head.
But you have to get rid of the part on the top of the ear coming all the way over. That's got to go.
No,
I think
I'd rather have
myself-
bald any day than that.
Yeah.
I have had bald headed, when I had my brain surgery, so
There you go.
I have a beautiful skull.
Did you look good, bald?
Very rounded.
There you go. Did they take all your hair?
sexy.
Did they take all of your hair?
No, just a half of my head.
Because my cousin had chemo.
Can you imagine?
All of her hair came out. She looked cute.
Half
She
of the
did.
head with no hair, and I still woke up in the morning.
You should have done the other
say
half
to
and had like a
myself,
mohawk.
I'm
Sexy
sexy
and-
for my hair.
When my cousin went through chemo, she lost her hair, and
Okay.
she looked adorable. She had her little scarf on, and she looked so cute.
Okay,
But when it grew out totally different. It was absolutely
I've
precious.
heard that a lot.
We have to move on to
Move
our
on.
next topic.
Okay. Our military, number 5, do you feel spouses of military personnel are overlooked when it comes to their bravery? I do, in a way. I don't know that they're overlooked. I think people don't think about it as much. But to me, it always made more sense. A person going into battle, the spouse, you say, oh, that person's very brave, that it's scary to do that. But the spouse, nobody fully recognizes what that person goes through each
Right.
and every day.
Especially if they're left behind with, especially when they're left behind with children. And maybe if they have children that have special needs, or they're taking care of a parent with special needs, and now their husband is not there, or their wife is not there. There are many men that
These
their wives
days,
are being
right.
That's
deployed.
right.
And Donna, who is our guest here today, Lyons, and came in and spoke about this morning, about the wives in the military and what they go through. I think we need to remember that they're keeping the home fires burning, and if they've got a problem child, not a special needs, but a problem child that is acting out or whatever, she stands alone, although she does have a good support system with the other wives. But still, we have to remember, these women are, it's kind of like being divorced and widowed, but their loved one is out there, and they can't reach out to them.
So it's not just having to deal with the everything on the everyday basis, but also the anxiety
Absolutely.
of their safety and wondering at any
bet.
time, are they still with us?
Right.
Are they going to
gonna
come
knock
back
on my
whole?
door?
Are they
Yeah.
going to come back at all?
Absolutely, and we went through that here in town when we lost Jay, that was like everybody's son, and that was just like a knife through everybody's heart. And his mother and his wife were very, very brave when that happened. But I just think I think we need to stop and realize, like, you say at the end of the day, you wait until your dad gets home. They can't say that. The only thing I can say that I feel that is better now is that the communication. We've got the Skype, we've got the computer, you've got
That's a really good point.
Yes, and that keeps it alive. You hear the voice, you feel the emotion, and I think that's what's very, very important. But boy, oh boy, they're heroes to me. These women and men that are staying back and they're on their own, and the money's not there. The money's not there.
I know, not at all. That's crazy.
And it's tough.
Yeah, and afterwards, if they are injured and they come back, the money's not there either. I mean, in terms of what the costs are. And
there you go. And then they have to put on a brave front if their husband is has a disability, or they have to learn to deal with their husband or their wife being either an amputee, and they have to reacclimate themselves to that type of life. And having your spouse away, or your fiance, or whatever, away for that long, and then to come home and to pick up, there's a lot of emotional and psychological thing that you go through. People change physically, people grow in different ways. So I really feel that wives in the military have it a lot tougher than but I think that they're a special breed of woman. I really do. And men, I think that these people, it's just something that that you have to deal with. Same as firemen's wives, police officers' wives.
There's an additional level of, the only word I can think of is patriotism.
Yes.
Because they do it not just for themselves and their family, but they realize there's a sacrifice they're giving for their country. Yeah.
Absolutely. They're taking time away from their family.
Well, I always think it's not a career, it's a calling.
Yes.
Great way to put it. Right.
Absolutely.
Because, you can have a career, but in order to do what they do every day, it's a calling.
And that's on both sides.
Yes.
Both sides of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
What makes me wonder is, like, I'm always wondering, what are they doing? That makes it so hard for me to think about, if one of my children was there, what are they doing? I mean, why are they getting killed? Why?
Are they in harm's way right
Yes.
now?
And the time change. When we're sleeping, they're awake. When they're awake, when they're sleeping, we're awake. So it's a time change. So
and they so far.
Yes.
I bought this little world to show my granddaughter because her boyfriend is in Afghanistan, and we looked, and it's all the way on the other side of the earth.
Right.
And she does a Skype with him.
Right.
Not every day, because Skype doesn't work all the time, but she talks to him just about every day, and that's a great comfort to her.
Absolutely.
And for mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and grandmothers and
for everybody. It's friends.
It's to know that they are alive and be able to talk to them. But before, when we didn't have that,
letters, took weeks to get there.
To find out whether they. I mean, we have come a long way, baby.
Oh,
we
absolutely.
Really
We have to pick 2 new topics, my dears.
Absolutely. Have at it there.
Alicia.
There, good.
Okay. Mental illness.
Number
3. Do you feel there are those who can hide their mental, emotional being from others and function like a normal person? Okay, and we have a free-for-all.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back, and we're going to find out what our free-for-all is.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage. And now back to Just Between Us.
Back to Just Between Us, and Pat, our first topic here is mental illness.
And number 3, do you feel there are those who can hide their mental or emotional being from others and function like a normal person? Well, I would say yes, considering the serial killers that for years everybody thought were just fine, and then they...
But the Zodiac is still, they assume, is still out there. or dead or
Dead.
whatever.
I
And
think they think he's
they
dead.
never caught him. Everybody had,
Bipolar people.
yeah.
Bipolar
and I
yeah.
think
people
there's
can
also-
really, there's a lot of sicknesses out there that we don't know about.
Look at
that-
all these young kids that are getting their parents' guns or whatever, they're stealing them, whatever, and going on rampages. A lot of their family, well, he seemed like a normal person, or she doesn't look like the type of person that could kill somebody.
And
So-
that's where I think too, there's multiple levels of mental illness.
Absolutely.
And,
Right.
And
Triggers.
triggers, exactly.
Yes.
That where someone is handling, because we all have stuff we deal with, right?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
so
the
we
kids,
all
Every
have
day.
this.
Every
exactly.
day.
It's like the
And
kids
so,
in
at what
Columbine.
point?
There were signs. There was problems there. But their parents, they were free thinking and let them express themselves and whatever. And then
So that's the question, were they really hiding? Was it really hidden? I don't
I
think
believe that the
those
one-
were not-
I believe the woman, the one in the Connecticut, I believe the mother, I think she was afraid of her son. Why would you take a child? Now, there was reports of her even telling, when he was young, telling the babysitter, don't turn your back on him, because this kid is something else. If you knew that, why would you take your kid out? Oh, come on, son, let's go out. We enjoy this together. Let's go out and learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
Why would you allow, if you knew there was something wrong with your child, you can love your child,
Right.
but she would have loved her child more if her child would have turned around and sought help. She was getting ready to move to seek help for this kid.
She was as ill-advised or inappropriate in
I
that
don't
as
know.
he was,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that I blame her. I'm not going to do that. I mean, this is a kid that took a gun, shot his mother in the head 3 times while she laid in her bed. But here we go again. Everybody gets on the gun thing. Well, that kid should not have access to those guns.
That's what I was
Absolutely.
just going to
No
say.
access.
What you do is, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to carry my gun, because I own a business, and
Well, it's one of your rights.
and I'm prepared. Something's going to happen. It's going to happen, but you have to take all the precautions. You have
Absolutely.
to have so much respect. You have to learn so much, and I don't think people understand. Oh, I'm going to get a gun just like that. No, it's
No,
a
you
big
can't.
deal
And
to get a gun.
California does have some
You
very,
have
very
to
good
lock
laws.
up your gun when-
Absolutely.
when you're when you're not around it, or like even at home. I don't sleep with my doors open when I have grandkids
Absolutely.
in the house. You lock your door
You bet.
so that they don't get a hold. Even if they under lock, I always relock the room where.
Yeah.
But not that that's going to give me a
Well,
lot of help
But
if I
going back
need
to the
it.
mental
If
illness
it's like-
thing, I think that the unfortunate thing, any mom has a real hard time of looking at their child and saying, there's something wrong,
Sure.
because that child is a part of you. What did I do? Is it cause or effect?
Mm-hmm.
Did something I do cause the damage to the child? Was he born that way? If he was, is it genetic?
I
And
adopted,
that is
I
a very-
adopted 6 children, okay? One of them kept mental problems. Immediately, I could tell, I could tell immediately. And what I did, I took him to counseling,
Yeah.
immediately, and started counseling with him and it took many hours of talking to him and teaching him that the only reason I wanted him in my life was because I loved him. Not any other reason.
Yeah.
And that's all he wanted to know. Isn't that amazing? His whole thinking changed.
Well, and like adoptive children, if you've ever seen somebody going through with a child adopted not as an infant, they push the envelope continuously because
They do.
what they want to know is, if I do this, will you still love me?
Yes.
If I do this, will
Yes.
you still
How,
love me?
Yes.
how
It is-
unconditional
Far
is
can I
it?
go?
Yeah, it's very
I-
much a
And
commitment.
a commitment.
Absolutely.
Boy,
once
did I
they figure
learn-
out that
It's the ultimate sacrifice of love is to open your heart and your home to
And
a
there's
child.
so many kids out there that
Yeah.
really need help.
Yeah.
And all it takes is somebody to take the time to, to look into it and
Right.
and to love them, no
And-
matter what they do. Sometimes you want to but
Okay, the
you
next
We're
have
going to
to
go
be
on
patient.
to our. You're going to take our first free
You
for all.
know, yes, I would love to take that first free-for-all. Last night, my daughter got very ill with stomach pain, okay? Horrible. We took her to the hospital. We thought she had the appendix. Then they thought it was her kidney stone.
Yeah.
And so, anyway,
Gallbladder.
finally, after they did all these tests, I was so impressed because all the new technology we have.
You bet.
She's doing better. Denise was asking me how she was doing. She's doing better. We have to take her to the doctor this morning, but still, impressed me. I was in the board of directors when we had our community hospital and we built the new hospital. But the technology back then and the technology now, just 10, 11 years ago, it's just totally changed. I mean, people might say whatever about the hospital, that it takes forever to
Oh, no.
ER
Our
or
hospital
this,
here is very
but
good.
compared to some other hospitals in big cities, it might take 2
The
or
only
3
thing I
hours
wish
to
we
take care
had
of
here, and I have to say, when you go in for a mammogram here, better known as the crusher, these women that do the test, they're wonderful at this hospital.
They are
But I hope someday everybody has the cone and they get rid of the crusher. Send it to the junkyard or wherever you want to send it. But get rid of it, please. Other than that, our hospital here, I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Well,
They're magnificent.
There's a lot of pros and cons in a hospital, okay?
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect.
That's
It's
because
always
it's
going to
people.
be.
in a lot
That's
of
right.
space.
Exactly.
But
Got it, Pat.
I was watching, they have a computer where the lab sends all the information to this computer, and the nurse doesn't have to be waiting for somebody to bring her the information.
Right.
And all you have to
It's
do
instant.
they're on it all the time. And this way they the doctor can sit in his desk and look at this information, and wow. I mean, I never thought that.
And just think what it's
this
going to be like in 10,
technology-
in
Exactly.
10
That's
years.
what's
Well, I
amazing
mean,
to think about.
see, being a doctor's daughter, and I remember living in the small town in Oklahoma. It's 1,000 people. It's a farming community. And I remember my dad bringing the polio vaccine to the town.
I'll be
I
darned.
mean, he was the one who got it to the town. And I got vaccinated just at the beginning of first grade, 1954. And I can remember my dad saying when he got out of medical school and came to this little town, he was replacing an old country doctor. And he explained to all the people of the town, I will not deliver a baby at home. You must go to the hospital. You must have prenatal care from the time you know you're pregnant. And then I remember when we came to California, a friend of my dad's had heart problems. And I remember my dad telling me, I said one time, who are you talking on the telephone to? And he says, Dr. Michael DeBecke. And he says, I'm talking to him about getting this man a transplant.
Oh, wow.
And that was in 1963. So
Wow.
that was when that first came. So
That's how they communicated over the phone, and that was
exactly.
Yeah.
it.
But I mean, in 1963, yes.
Even that, I mean,
Have
talking
you-
about it in
Have you
1963
seen
is amazing.
the young man that came back from Afghanistan, I believe?
And the hands?
And he has 2 new
Oh, yeah,
arms.
2 new
Yes,
arms.
the arms.
That was
It was amazing. Did you see him? He went like this, and he scratched his nose, and I went, I cannot believe this. This is
the simple
unbelievable.
things that
Yeah.
we don't know.
It's the robotics.
You know,
And
the things
And
that
each
are,
step as we go
as we
improves
see
upon the
in
last.
our,
yeah.
in our
Look in our
generation.
Olympics. Look in our Olympics this year. When we had, oh gosh, his name escapes me, a beautiful young man. He had 2 artificial limbs, and he ran.
yeah.
And he was wonderful. I mean, my God, I was in awe. I just watched him. He was the most unbelievable, beautiful young man. And he was born without, he had to have his legs amputated. But today, they do so much. And I think that a lot of us, we don't realize, on one of the I think it's CSI, one of the programs, one of the corners that is standing there, and you don't see him move around a lot. He had his legs blown off in Vietnam, and he's now a movie star. And he talks about it. You know, when he's asked about it, You would never know
Well,
that happened.
I was just thinking, when I was a little girl, I was the phone for my mom. I had to run to
There
the
you
doctor
go.
when the baby was going to be
There you
born.
go.
There you
Look
go.
at the doctor.
Our last two topics,
Last
we'll
two
have a
topics?
free-for-all.
Which one do you want?
Oh, I think these two.
Okay.
All right. Being polite and having manners.
Okay.
Number
Number
5.
5.
Again.
Is setting an example one way you can educate others on manners and being polite? Okay, and the next one.
The free-for-all. So,
is the
Roberta,
free-for-all.
you and Pat come up with something, my dear. And we're going to take a very, very short break, and we're going to be right back.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
Welcome back to Just Between Us. I'm Susie from Volcano.
I'm Pat from Sutter Creek.
I'm Roberta from Pioneer.
And I'm Martha from my own in Jackson.
Okie dokie, girls.
Jose's. I'm going to add one more.
And Jose's.
Where else?
Okay, Pat.
Okay. Being polite and having manners. Is setting an example one way you can educate others on manners and being polite? I think the answer is yes.
I think that's a definite yes.
That's, people learn by
Waking
examples.
up at 6 o'clock in the morning and looking in the mirror and saying, I'm too sexy for my blouse. Is that a good example for my granddaughters?
If you do it in a mannerly fashion, yes.
And very courteous too.
If you
My
say-
hair sticking up.
If you say, please watch and thank
They
you.
look at me every morning. They go, Grandma, how do you do that? I say, you have to wake up with a good attitude, you know.
Yeah.
Well, a good attitude is
you know,
important for everything.
everything.
I remember growing up. Well, we were always the please and the thank yous.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
No
definitely.
swearing. It had to be respectful. But when I had kids too, then it was always had to be please. So the kids would say, "Give me that." What? And I mean, that was just the way. If they didn't say please, it was like, what? And we would not even respond to the question until they added a please to it.
When my kids
And
were
they
younger.
learned it.
Yeah.
And now they do it with their kids.
When,
It's so
when
cute.
my kids were younger, we never swore. We never said bad words at home. We never, you know. And now I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
My mother used to
you're
say them in
always
Italian,
spouting.
and they didn't count. Yeah, my mother said if I say them in Italian, they don't count. They didn't think we knew. We knew every one.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Oh yeah, that's how we learned, you know. But it's true. It starts at home. The education starts at home.
Absolutely.
It does.
In all ways, because you're always, the camera is always on.
You bet.
They are always watching us from our
Well, they're
the
little
words we
sponges.
use.
They absorb everything from their
Absolutely.
parents.
The expressions on our face, the body language, whatever, they're picking it up. And
Yeah.
and I think that's why sometimes you see a little 3-year-old and they say something and you go, oh my God, that's just a mimic of me,
Oh,
little mini
right.
me, you know?
I
Because
have
they do
seen-
pick it up.
I have seen so many things on Facebook that people talk about their children because they said a bad word or something and they think it's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my
Well,
God.
sometimes kids, they'll hear other people say it and they'll say it, but I notice that especially with my grandkids, because I raised my children this way. With my grandkids, it's always please and thank you, but after we go to Courtney's baseball games, softball games, she always comes up to John and I and says, thank you, Noni, for being there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for
sweet.
coming.
Yeah.
Never forget. She always says that. So, and my son-in-law, especially Paul, he is very staunch on manners. I mean, there is, you know, he'll grab him by the arm and bring him back and say, "Excuse me, you need to thank your grandparents, or you need to say please and thank you." And I know you and Ted raised your boys like the same
yes,
way.
and it's very interesting because I remember as soon as our first granddaughter Lauren could speak, our other son wasn't married at the time and he was engaged, and he said, "We cannot believe that Lauren at the age of 2, it's like, could I please have this? Thank you very much for letting me have that." And he said, "She is like a miniature adult." And I said, "Did I not teach you these things?" And he had no children at the time.
Right.
And it was very interesting. But one of the things that I used to do, I mean, going to a Catholic school, you really learn that too. And, you know, starting at home and then
Sure.
definitely forwarding. But it was very interesting is when my kids were little and they would say, "Can I have that?" And I said, "That means you have the ability to handle it.
May I have?
Will I let you have it? What do you need to say?" And they go, oh yes, may I have that? That's right.
Yeah.
And so and that was, I'm an English major, so that I was also teaching them,
Right.
the meaning of words.
I have to watch my English now.
But I told him, I said, the difference is, if you can, that means you have the ability. Will I allow it? Only if you ask for it politely.
But I think up here, I have met some of the most polite young people.
Oh, yes.
When you go to Walmart or any store and they've gone to a store where there was not a teenager there that didn't open the door for you, or if they're in the aisle, they'll grab that or whatever.
That's what I like about our smaller
Yes.
community.
Oh, it is.
You don't
It's
see
just-
the same thing
No,
in
no.
bigger
But
cities.
I have talked to people who've lived in other similar sized communities in other areas of the state, and they've moved here and said they have never such polite children
Yeah.
Interesting.
before.
Absolutely,
But
I agree.
my generation, the way that I was raised, we got spanked big time, okay? Well, I learned that I wanted to break that chain. I didn't, okay? I still spanked my children when they were younger. I didn't beat them up, but I did spank them in the butt because those were, if you do something, there's a consequence to
Of course.
everything that we do. But then I learned that one look,
Yeah.
ooh,
Oh, well, my mother gave us that look. It was like,
The look.
you knew.
that
You knew.
look,
Capital T, capital
See,
L.
I know my parents didn't spank us, and my dad.
My kids
It-
don't do that.
Yeah.
None of my kids, I know that Jose and Raquel has never spanked their children. And I think, how do they do it? It wasn't my generation.
It's a different way of teaching
generation,
kids today.
yes.
I think parents today, not like in our generation or when we were growing up. Pat may had a different way of growing up. You and I were brought up very Latin,
Oh, yeah.
and your
Ándale
parents.
pronto.
Yeah, your parents were not. It was not a friend. They were a parent, and I think today
Yeah.
parents are more friends.
And
they
more
can parent.
educated.
My mother actually told me that. I mean, because my friends have,
Yeah.
their
Well, I'm
mom
not-
is more, and she said, I am not your
There you
friend.
go. There you
She
go.
was
Yes.
German. It was
Yeah.
more than
There you go.
dramatic.
That's one thing my kids know. I'm not their friend. I'm their mother.
There
and
you go.
Then if
We
I
can be
we
friends
can
later
be
on, but
friends.
not.
We-
More when they're
you're gonna
adults.
you're
Can be
gonna
friends.
kick off
We are
our
best
our
friends,
hot
but
topic.
first I'm their
Not the hot
mother.
topic. The
Free-for-all.
What I thought we might talk about a little bit is Jerry Brown was in the paper saying that we are now solvent. We have a balanced budget, and everything is moving forward. Any opinions on this as to?
I think it's smoke
this
and
month?
mirrors.
Is it this month? Or are we headed
What
in the
is
right
he
direction?
smoking?
I think we've done some
Yes,
better
he's
things,
done
but I
some-
think
we
some
have-
of
yeah,
it
you
is
gotta
still
give him a
smoke and
little
mirrors, and
credit.
I don't think we're
Yeah.
truly solving it this
I
way.
agree. It starts with an S, but it's not smoke. But no, I have to give him credit where credit is due. I do believe that he's made some strides and has cut back things. But California is going to take us, if we ever can recover. I mean, we are in dire straits. I don't think people realize the dire straits that we're in. And we need to change a lot of things about this state.
I think we're really going to, I think people haven't fully felt the impact of the sales tax increase. I think that there's going to be some additional impact as some of the
We have no
more
choice,
expensive-
Roberta.
Well,
We have no choice. That's the thing.
The point is, it's still an impact. And
Right.
so you have to bring in revenue, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
but as the economy is still very tough, and our county is a good example of that, and so you have perhaps less money coming in, and yet you go to buy something and it's going to cost more, so that has an additional impact. So
You
the
know,
domino
I
starts
think
to fall,
people
and
too.
that's a problem.
They don't realize a lot of things that It's like everybody talks about the government, the government, the government. Okay, that's true, but we have to start thinking about local California. It's like they go and they go, my God, I can't believe the price of milk and bread or whatever went up. Well, if the price of gas goes up, people don't put it together.
But the price of milk's going to go up.
Everything else is
Everything
going to
else
go
is
up.
gonna
Production
go up,
line,
yeah.
yeah.
Right,
the whole-
and there's just so much behind everything. I heard a lady the other day, and she was in Walmart, and she said, "My gosh, about like a couple months ago, this thing wasn't that much. It's so much more now." And the candy for Valentine's Day. And my God, everything's gone up. Well, you know what?
Look at the gas pump.
That's exactly
Yeah,
it. You
that
need
also-
when gas goes up, your food product,
My
your clothing.
understanding is if corn goes up,
Yes.
everything
Yes,
goes up.
yes,
Because
and everything's
because
affected
corn
by
is in everything.
absolutely our agriculture, obviously the gas prices, unemployment rate, which is creeping up a little bit, the housing market, and we start out our day when we're sleeping. The economy is already moving forward because of what's happening in Europe and Asia.
Right.
So we have a lot of people. They talk about economics and they talk about government. I don't think myself, I'm speaking for myself, I really have a hard time stopping and thinking, my gosh, all of these things affect one blouse that I buy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
amazing.
Going
Yeah.
back to the whole thing with Jerry Brown, I feel, yay, we got to a place where it's semi-balanced.
Right, absolutely.
My fear is that, it's all done.
done.
We
We'll
don't
get
have to
our
do
spin now.
anything,
Yeah.
and we can
Yes.
go. And that's absolutely
Have
wrong.
you ever seen, I always sort of get it down to the basics. Don't you know people who live like this? It's like they're in debt. They get a bonus or a raise. They get caught up, and it's like, whoa! Now we have money in the bank. We can spend more.
We can go on
it's a
vacation,
vicious cycle.
know.
Yes,
Well, it kind of
exactly.
sounds like our government, doesn't
That's
it?
your
That's
point.
what I'm saying. That's why I said I
That's
break
what-
it down to the individual. But that's our
You know,
that's our state government.
It is.
I always talk about 42 years ago when I came to this country, everything was in control. What
We have no control.
happened? I learned to save. I learned to take care of my money. I'm not frivolous with my money, but I'm very careful with every cent that goes out.
Do you want to know what
You know.
happened? We didn't have credit like we have now.
Well, like
That's
we
a
do
And
now.
very
we
good
have
point.
Right.
raised an
Plastic.
entire
Yeah.
several generations
On plastic.
who do not understand the concept. I'll tell you how bad it is. You get the calls on the telephone. Would you like to lower your interest rate on your credit card? So this young girl called one time, and she sounded like she was just out of high school. It was at the beginning of the summer. I'm sure she got a job. And I said, no, I don't care to lower my interest rate. And she says, but I know what your interest rate is, and it's very high. And I said, it could be 100% a day, and I wouldn't care because I pay it off every month.
There you go.
And
That's
she said to me, I did not know you could do that. And
Oh,
we
boy.
have to take a short break. We'll be right back with our hot topic for you.
Just Between Us, a spontaneous, intuitive live television show with topics that are intended to inspire, delight, educate, and encourage.
Welcome back to
Yes, we
Super Bowl
are.
Friday, as we say, and our hot topic is going to deal with the Super Bowl. It says, which do you prefer watching, besides Martha, the tight ends, during the Super Bowl, the game or the commercial, or the tight ends?
Oh, the game.
I think it depends on the game. If the game is a good one and it's exciting and it really feels like they're
I like the whole
really
thing.
fighting back and forth
Yeah.
with who's going to
Super Bowl
win.
is usually that way.
I think it
It's the two
depends
best.
if you like the teams, because a lot of people don't like those teams, know. And it could be a great Super Bowl, but if you're not a fan to one of those teams, it doesn't do a lot for you. Because I have gone to Super Bowl parties where it's like, why
That's
do
kind
I
of
care?
You're right.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
really
No,
think about it, but you're
But
right.
have you
Yeah.
ever seen the
Yeah.
and this brings you to tears, the Budweiser, the Budweiser commercials? Oh, they bring you to tears
Always.
sometimes.
Every-
Those little Clydesdales.
Little.
Oh,
Those big
well,
Clydesdales.
the one with the baby. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the one with the baby, where he tries out to pull the wagon and stuff, and they tell him no, you can't, and then so at the end it shows to his dad pushing the cart to help him make it go, and I'm there. Oh, what a cute dad!
I like the one of the Starbaiter.
The Darth Vader.
It's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Darth Vader
that little
where he's
kid.
trying to turn
Oh,
on
and
the
the
car.
tar, yeah,
Yes.
and then it's
that
like,
was,
yes,
that was
precious.
just
I have one on my
nice.
computer of it was after 9/11, where the Clydesdales go, where they had the Twin Towers and they kneel. Oh my God.
That was.
That tears me up every time. I
still
mean,
does.
Why do
Oh.
they wait only for Super Bowl to make good commercials?
Because commercials
Well,
cost a lot.
and not only
of
that,
money to
Pat,
make.
Yeah, they're
now before the game, now it's the big talk is the commercials. They have one commercial where, oh shoot, I can't remember her name. Very pretty girl is washing a car and she's in a tank top and it was the same thing with the Paris Hilton. It's too prerogative is this and that. Look, they're young. Nothing sags, everything's perfect. God bless them. Because in 5 years, they're going to be sitting back with the rest of us going, I remember when I could wear that. You know, let them have their day.
I'm okay.
I
As long
think
as
it's
it's
great.
not.
No, it'll
Crude.
be lots longer because
Overly.
Yeah,
the
I don't want
women-
crude or.
Yeah.
We'll have the Botox and everything else
Yes.
done. All right, I'll give them 10 years.
Yeah.
Then there's another one where they're doing for Volkswagen, where they talk in Jamaican and Caucasian people are people. I think there's not a Hispanic. I think there's a Asian gentleman and a few Caucasians, and they're talking in like a Rastafarian. Oh, everybody went berserk in the United States. They said, "Oh, that is so racist." The people of Jamaica said, "I think it's great. It shows that Jamaicans are be happy." You want to listen to Bob Marley as soon as you see that commercial. You know, I think that people make too much of a big deal over over the
Political
the political
correctness.
yeah. You know what? A Super Bowl's not for political correctness. It's to go out and have fun,
Have a good
be with
time.
families and friends, have a few drinks, have a few hors d'oeuvres, have a good time. You know, you hoop and holler and make a fool out of yourself. Of course, that's every weekend that the Niners are on in my house. But what the heck? I don't care.
Up to a certain limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have limits.
I mean, there's, like in our family, there's two. I mean, I have to sort of have a vested interest in one of the teams before I'm really interested. But then I grew up with a dad who, before he went to medical school, was a professional athlete, and so
you know.
and then it's genetically carried on to our two sons that if there is a ball on a screen and it's moving, we must all watch it and not speak. And
Now that brings us back to that mentally illness question.
And
you
also to how we are taught by example, right? It's like, oh,
well, the interesting thing is that when I met my husband, he was an engineering major, and I asked him, I said, "Do you like sports?" And he says, "Not really." And I'm going, "This is the man for me." So then I marry him, and all of a sudden it's like, I said, "You're watching, and your two favorite sports now are football and boxing." And I said, "How did you even find out about boxing? Football, I know, but my dad was a professional boxer. Also,
There you go.
He played pro ball as a football player and as a boxer." And he says, "All these years of sitting next to your dad."
Oh, how fun.
so it rubbed off on him too.
But don't you feel that it's a good bonding day for kids and
It is.
parents
It's
and
very good.
grandparents? That's what I'm going to
Yes.
be with and stuff. And I just think it's just so much fun, to let your hair down. And I remember when the Niners played the Bengal, I think it was the Bengal Tigers, and they had
Cincinnati
they had
Bengals.
the Iggy Shuffle. And I said, like a dope, if the Niners win, or whoever they were playing, if they win, I think it was the Niners, I will go out in the middle of Alhambra Avenue in Martinez and do the Iggy Shuffle. Well, it was foggy, and it was about 6 o'clock, and I had to go out in the middle of the road, and I did the Iggy Shuffle. And people were going by honking and waving and everything. I was so embarrassed. So this year, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Don't say anything.
Not saying a word. I'm just going to say, well, because they always say, okay, what are you going to do?
I'll be watching the Super Bowl this year because I like the 49ers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I love football, but now
there's
that Kaepernick's
all the
in there.
teams that I like too.
Sure.
But I think the 49ers is my favorite because they're from California.
There you go.
You know, it's supporting the California team is important to me.
You betcha. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.
Between us.
Welcome back. If you want to reach us, we're at 223-48...
Say it again.
223-4877, or you can email us at book me at tspntv.com or fax at 223-4866. Martha, you have some good advice for people out there?
Yes, if you're going to be drinking for Super Bowl, please get a designated driver.
Absolutely.
It's so important. I like to see you again.
Yes.
You know,
It's important. Do not drink and drive because you can spill your drink. So you should never drink and drive. Am I correct, ladies? Never.
You're funny.
Pull over and let somebody, you drink.
Be
and
serious. I'm
No.
being serious.
No,
because
absolutely.
It's so important that, that we pass on the message,
You bet.
And
It's very
we
true.
have to be a good example, too.
Right.
To
Right.
our kids. So please.
So
out
I
there,
guess we're all-
have fun, have a good time, and I hope, say a little prayer for my daughter, Raquel.
Yes, I hope she feels better.
So-
Raquel, and besos.
And besos to all
Besos.
my grandkids.
Yes, and we want to wish Jesse and all the kids from Amador County that are serving overseas. You're in our prayers and thoughts. We love you much. Come home safe, ladies. It was wonderful seeing you. Go Niners! What else is there to say?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Life is
Show us
good.
those
Life is
tight ends,
good.
baby.
enjoy the weekend. Yeah, because after Super Bowl, there's no football, and there's a big letdown in many homes.
Don't forget to come to Jose's and order your chips and salsa for the Super Bowl.
That's it.
There
Oh
you go.
my God!
Martha's
Last
got 'em ready to
year,
rock and roll.
I sold chips and salsa like crazy.
Very
So,
good.
Yeah,
Let's hope
so
we do good.
That's
come
very
over
good.
and get it.
Roberta, thank you for coming on with the Rotary this
Thank
morning.
you.
And Donna, we'll see you on this side of the camera next time. And thank you for writing that book about the military wives. It's very important, and you're a blessing. Besos to you. We love you dearly. Thank you very much. With that, we're going to give everybody our love, and especially the night. And let's just hope nobody gets hurt. Even if we lose, as long as everybody comes out of it okay and no one is harmed and hurt,
Right.
that's the main thing. And to
Keep the spirit, It's
That's exactly it.
Whether you win or whether you lose,
It's
you
the
know,
spirit.
It's a game. Adios.
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 Hasta la vista.